السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا ومن سيئات اعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. واشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, when Ibrahim alayhi salam built the Kaaba, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, go and announce to the people that they have to come and perform the Hajj. So Ibrahim alayhi salam said to Allah, Ya Allah, there is nobody here. How will they hear my message? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded to Ibrahim alayhi salam, upon you is the proclamation, and upon me is to see who will respond. So Ibrahim alayhi salam climbed to the roof of the Kaaba. He climbed to the roof, he climbed to the summit of Mount Safa, and he said what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him in the Quran, وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ. He said, O people, Allah has built for himself a house on this earth, and He has legislated upon you that you perform the pilgrimage. So come and perform the pilgrimage. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anh said that when Ibrahim alayhi salam made this message, that all of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had heard it. So much so that every ruh that was ever created up until the day of judgment that was destined to perform Hajj, that ruh said, Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells Ibrahim, وَأَذِنْ فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ, give the adhan for Hajj. Announce to the people the pilgrimage. Proclaim that they must come and perform the Hajj. يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا, that the people will come to you walking. وَعَلَى كُلِّ ضَامِرٍ, and that they will come to you on every type of animal, even on the animals that are weak. يَأْتِينَ مِنْ كُلِّ فَاجٍ عَمِيقٍ, and that they will come to you from all corners of the globe. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying two things. The first, that people will come by any means necessary, that they will walk, that they will use animals that are otherwise unfit to travel on. And the second, that they are going to be coming from all parts of the world. Like He told Ibrahim alayhi salam, your part is the proclamation. Upon me is to see to it that the people respond. And why is it that these people will respond? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, لِيَشْهَدُوا مَنَافِعَ لَهُمْ, so that they will witness, that they will participate, that they will partake in something which will be a benefit to them. لِيَشْهَدُوا مَنَافِعَ لَهُمْ, that they will benefit by doing Hajj. And subhanAllah, brothers and sisters, the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam made this proclamation. He called the people for Hajj over 4,000 years ago. Brothers and sisters, in those 4,000 years, up until today, the call for Hajj has been answered every single year. Since the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam until today, there has not been a year that has passed by on this earth except that the Hajj was performed in that year. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Ibrahim alayhi salam, upon you is the proclamation, and upon me is to see to it that it is responded to. Think about that, brothers and sisters. The Hajj is the most uninterrupted pilgrimage in the history of mankind. The Hajj is the largest pilgrimage that takes place on an annual basis. Ibrahim alayhi salam said, oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this message, I'm in this desolate valley. Who around will hear me proclaim? Who will listen to my adhan? When Ibrahim alayhi salam made the proclamation, nobody was in front of him. Not a single soul was standing in front of him to hear this message. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed that all of the creation would hear this message. And now, the issue is that we have an over quantity of people trying to perform the Hajj each year. And the Saudis had to implement more and more ways to accommodate the amount of people that are responding to the call of Ibrahim alayhi salam and that are answering the call of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And notice as well, brothers and sisters, that the continuity of Hajj. Think about this. In the past 4,000 years, through drought, through famine, through civil war, through World War I and World War II, nothing has prevented the Hajj from being performed. Even the pagans in Jahiliyyah would perform Hajj. Yes, it was a different type of Hajj, but they derived it from Ibrahim alayhi salam. Regularly doing the tawaf and the sa'i and giving dhikr and prayer and ritual and sacrifice in the haram since this time. Can you imagine how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has fulfilled the prayer, the answer of Ibrahim alayhi salam? Your job is to announce, and it is my job to respond to that call. And as well, look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told that they will use every means of transportation. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specifically mentions in the Quran, animals which are weak. عَلَى كُلِّ ضَامِرٍ. And the word ضَامِر that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses translates to basically weak or lean or something that doesn't have a lot of muscle to it. And yet still people will use these types of animals to travel on to perform the Hajj. So people will walk and they will travel upon these animals that are weak and otherwise would not be used for travel. And what do we see today, brothers and sisters? What do we see today, brothers and sisters? Yes, majority of the people who perform the Hajj fly on an airplane and they land in Medina or they land in Jeddah. But for those who can't afford a plane ticket, they take boats, they take trains. And for those who couldn't afford this, they take the bus or they take their own car. And for some of the poorer countries, and for some of our poor brothers and sisters who are coming from places like Sudan or Uzbekistan, some of them even walk, even take their animals to Hajj. There was a story of a man who traveled from Pakistan to Hajj, from Pakistan to Mecca, walking. He left Pakistan in April to arrive in Mecca by October. There was another man who left Bosnia. He left Bosnia for Hajj, and his travel took him through Syria, through the civil war of Syria. He passed through the cities of Aleppo and Damascus, being stopped at checkpoints along the way. His path took him through the northern deserts of Saudi Arabia, which are amongst the most barren deserts in the world. And he passed through them during the summers of Saudi Arabia, because he was answering the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was answering this adhan of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So every single means of transportation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the people will travel to come. And all these people that are coming, brothers and sisters, all these people that are coming to perform the pilgrimage to this house, where will these people come from? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, يَأْتِينَ مِن كُلِّ فَاجٍ عَمِيقٍ, that they will come from every corner of this globe. Hajj is not only the largest gathering of humanity on this earth, but it is also the most diverse. In it, you will find people from every race, every culture, every ethnicity, every age. It is no exaggeration to say, brothers and sisters, that the Hajj is the greatest regular gathering of humanity that takes place on this earth. And look at Ibrahim alayhi salam. When he called the people, there was nobody in front of him to listen. And what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has caused his message to become. If this is not a sign of beauty of the religion, of this religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then I don't know what else can be. Surely something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts such importance on, then in it there must be a great number of blessings for us. Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Ya ayyuhan nas, kutiba alaykum al-hajj, fahajju. O people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed over you the hajj, so perform the hajj. And our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us so many blessings of the hajj. Among them are that the people who perform the hajj, the hujjaj, they do it seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then that pilgrim becomes the guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are the guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala visiting the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that the pilgrim who recites the talbiyah, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, that pilgrim who recites the talbiyah, each and every of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can hear that talbiyah, and it will stand for him on the day of Qiyamah as witness that this man has responded to the call. He has told us that the hujjaj that gather in the days of Arafat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends down to the lowest heaven and he boasts to his angels, look at these people who have gathered here. Look at these people who have gathered in these plains of Arafat. They are tired and disheveled and hungry, and they are not wearing their normal clothes, and they are so far away from home, and yet they have come here responding only to my call. He will call the angels and say to them, I would like you to bear witness and testify that I have forgiven each and every one of them. And our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that shaitan is never more disheartened, is never more depressed on the day of Arafah. Why? Because he sees the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on us, on his creation. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that the hajji, the one who goes for hajj, every step that he takes, every step forward that his animal makes, and in our times, every movement we make towards the haram, whether it be on a plane or in a car or in a bus, that we are raised one level and that one of our sins is forgiven. And he told us that the Hujjaj who will be pelting in the Jamarat, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be witnessing this. And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be recording your deeds for you. And he said about the blessings of Muzdalifah, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about the blessings of Muzdalifah in the Quran, that this is sacred territory. And that praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for having Him guided you to here on this day. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that when the Hajji performs the final tawaf of Hajj, the tawaf ibadah, the tawaf that ends the Hajj, that when the Hajji finishes this tawaf, then it is as if he as pure as the day his mother gave birth to him. Meaning that his sins have been wiped clean just as the day he has been born. My brothers and sisters, for the one who performs Hajj, the accepted Hajj, the Hajj Mabrur, for the one who performs his Hajj and it is accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is no reward less than Hajj itself, less than paradise itself. There can be no other reward for Hajj except paradise. There is no monetary reward given. There is no amount of darajat or quantity of hasanat that is given to you. There's only one reward. And if you do it properly, inshallah, that reward is paradise. Al-Hajju Mabrur laysa lahu jaza'un illa al-Jannah. There is no reward except that of Jannah. And that is why there is such an importance placed on the Hajj. And that is why it is followed upon us. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this one of the 5 pillars of this religion. Brothers and sisters, some of you may ask me, why do you talk about the Hajj? Why don't you talk about salah or zakat or spirituality? And originally I didn't intend for this entire khutbah to be about the Hajj. And inshallah in the second khutbah I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the significance of the first 10 days of the Hijjah. But let's be honest with ourselves, brothers and sisters. Who here can honestly say that today any thought of the Hajj would cross through their minds? Or through this week? Or even this month? The main reason why I am talking about the Hajj is not because it's coming up in a few more weeks. Is because very few of us have actually thought seriously about the Hajj or have put aside money or intentions to perform the Hajj. Now, the Hajj is something that we all say inshallah to, but some of us may not actually have plans or preparations made for it. For some of us, the Hajj is actually something we can afford, but it's not something that's on our minds. And for many of us, myself included, the Hajj is something whose importance we don't fully understand yet. And it's for these people that I would like to make you at least aware of what is this thing called Hajj. And make you aware of some of the tremendous blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon us for those who perform the Hajj. And perhaps to try and coach you and persuade you that this is not some unattainable dream, but that there is something we can do to plan and prepare for it, even if we don't have the funds for it at this time. And among the first things in this regard is to understand where the Hajj fits in our religion. You see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Now, what does that mean to be one of the 5 pillars of Islam? Well, a pillar is something that holds up a structure. In our deen, the pillars are what hold up our faith. In a hadith narrated by Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu in Sahih Bukhari, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Islam is built upon 5 things. The first being the shahada, then salah, zakat, fasting, and hajj. Some of us may think that the 5 pillars, one of them may be more important than the other, but this thinking is incorrect, brothers and sisters. Each of the pillars has their own importance, and each of the pillars is as important as the pillar next to it. And to deny any single one of these pillars means to crumble the structure of this faith. To knock down a pillar, a structure can't support itself. To deny any one of these pillars is a denial of faith. So you tell me which of these pillars is unimportant enough that we can neglect it, that we can forget about it. There is this stigma, you know, when we think about the other pillars, it's something that we're more familiar with. We do salah on a regular basis. We give zakat on a regular basis. We fast on a regular basis. We say our shahada on a regular basis. But hajj, rarely any of us do on a regular basis. And it's true, for example, that there is no financial obligation upon us for performing salat, and there is no time commitment upon us for giving zakat. But brothers and sisters, in thinking that, that's where the waswasa of shaitan enters our ears, and we take these small excuses and we turn them into a big excuse. The Hajj has two criteria to be fulfilled before it becomes farad on any individual. The first is that individual must be of repute, meaning that person must be a Muslim. He must be sound in mind, he must be of age, he mustn't be a child. And that's not to say children can't go for Hajj and for Umrah, it's just that when they become adults, they should be encouraged to perform them again. And the second criteria is that one needs to be financially sound to go for Hajj, and they need to be able to afford it. Now, what does it mean to be financially sound? If taking out the funds for Hajj will cause you to be late on your rent or something like this, then inshallah, Hajj is not obligatory on you. But if you're able to afford vacations every year, or you're able to save up large sums of money, then for that person, Hajj would be farad upon you. And even for this first type of person who's not able to afford the Hajj, just because it's not obligatory on you, should not deter you and dampen your desires to perform the Hajj in any way. At the end of the day, perhaps as important as the obligation of Hajj is, the genuine desire to go is as important. You have to really want to go. Otherwise, you'll never be able to save up the money. I know of this one individual, brothers and sisters, who saved up a portion of money to purchase, let's say, X. And it was a good amount of money, a few $1,000s. But every time something would come up, a small mini emergency or an impulsive expenditure, they would take money from this fund to pay for these emergencies, for these impulse expenditures. And as a result, the money in that fund decreased. I believe wholeheartedly that if you sincerely want to save money for something, then save for it. And don't spend that money on anything else except for the expenses related to that which you are spending for. If you sincerely want to go for Hajj, set aside a fund now. Start saving up money for that Hajj. And do not spend from that money except in expenditures for that Hajj. Brothers and sisters, I'll make one final point and I'll close with this. In the early days of Islam, people performed Hajj all the time. They performed the Hajj each and every year. And people would come from all over the Muslim caliphate to perform the Hajj. There was one man in one community who lived to be very old, and he used to make Hajj every year. And one youth asked this man, "Ya Sheikh, I see that you go for Hajj every single year. How many Hajj have you performed?" And this man began to cry. He began to weep. And he said, "Do not ask me how many Hajj I have performed. Ask me how many Hajj have been accepted from me." My brothers and sisters, the ancient proverb goes, the journey of 1,000,000 steps begins with just one. Well, the journey of Hajj needs a starting point too. And that begins with an intention. Inshallah, today, I hope that I was able to bring to the attention of some of you the blessings of Hajj. And inshallah, inspire desire and encouragement for you to go for the Hajj. But most importantly, I hope that I instilled at least some knowledge about the Hajj in your heart, that inshallah one day you will go. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى سيدنا محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أما بعد. My brothers and sisters, the Hajj season also marks an important set of days in this religion. The first 10 days of the month of Dhul Hijjah are days in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that no good deed is more preferred than on these 10 days. It's the opinion of many scholars that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَالْفَجْرِ وَلَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ, that these لَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ, these 10 days that he's referring to are the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. Our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that there are no days in which righteous deeds are more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than in these 10 days. The people, the Sahaba around him asked, not even striving in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He replied, no, not even striving in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Except in the case, perhaps, of one who goes out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and spends himself entirely, and spends his wealth entirely, so that when he comes back he has nothing. Then perhaps this is more comparable. But just look at that. Look at what's being compared to doing good deeds in these 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. And it doesn't even specify what these good deeds can be. It could be smiling at your brothers or your sisters. It could be putting $1 in the donation box. If something like this can be comparable to striving in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, shouldn't this be a strong motivation for us? The Prophet ﷺ was also asked about fasting on the day of Arafat, which is the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. He replied, fasting on the day of Arafat will forgive one's sins for the year prior and the year to come. Brothers and sisters, no other day carries such a reward. Fasting on the day of Ashura, for example, which is the 10th of Muharram, carries the reward of having your sins forgiven for the prior year. But fasting on the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, the day of Arafah, has sins forgiven for the year prior and the year after. This is something that is very unique. On these days, it is recommended to perform as much extra nafil as possible because of the immense reward that each one carries. And at the very end of these days, it's recommended to recite the Takbiratul Eid after every salah. So brothers and sisters, the reward for these days are tremendous. And I don't think any of us here are in a position where we can say, you know what, I think I have enough good deeds, I don't need to do anything. Or I think I have enough forgiveness, I'm good, I don't need to fast. At the very least, we should strive to fast on the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, which is the day right before Eid. So that corresponds to the 11th or the 12th of September, or basically whichever day we do Eid here, the day before. Fast on that day. And inshallah, your sins will be forgiven for the year prior and the year to come. And to tie this back to the first khutbah, brothers and sisters, Dhul Hijjah is known as the month of Hajj, but it is also the 12th month of the Islamic calendar. After this month, the calendar resets and it begins with the first month again. And we all know the origin of this Islamic calendar. When Umar radiallahu anh based this calendar off of the hijrah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he marked that year as year 1 in the Islamic calendar. But he didn't fix the months. It was Ali radiallahu anh who selected the month of Muharram to be the first in the Islamic calendar over all the other months. Why? Because the month just prior was the month of Dhul Hijjah, and this marks the end of the Islamic calendar. So as the Hujjaj complete their Hajj and they return back to their homes, they return back to a brand new year, and they are filled with even more spirit and positive optimism. My brothers and sisters, inshallah, if you've not performed the Hajj, utilize these 10 days to make dua. And in these 10 days, increase the amount of nafil that you do. And in these 10 days, strive to fast on the 9th day of Dhul Hijjah. You may not be able to make the intention for Hajj next year or even the year after, but inshallah, if you make the intention now, it may push it up on your to-do list. And with this intention, start making a small fund dedicated only for Hajj. And do not withdraw from this fund except for Hajj expenses only. And for those of you who don't know, inshallah, this year, my wife and I, we will be performing the Hajj. And that's exactly how we saved up for it. We had literally an envelope of money somewhere in a drawer in the house that we saved up for. And it took me almost 5 or 6 years to save up enough money for Hajj. So it's no easy task, but it comes, brothers and sisters. You just have to have a starting point in it. So don't be discouraged, brothers and sisters. Don't be discouraged. These last 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, which I think corresponds to the 1st or 2nd of September. The 1st or 2nd of September is the start of the first days of Dhul Hijjah. Make dua in these days, and I urge you to make the niyyah for Hajj in it as well. And if you don't have a start fund set, start inshallah making a small pool of money set for Hajj. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله ولكم. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His help and for His forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evils of our own soul and from our own bad deeds. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to put the desire of Hajj in our hearts, and that He make it easy for us and affordable for us, and to accept it from us when we go. Brothers and sisters, if there was any good in this khutbah, know that it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if there was any mistakes or anything that I had said wrong, know that it's from myself. I ask the community, if there's anything that my wife and I have done wrong, just forgive us for it, and remember us in your du'as. Inshallah, we will remember you in this community in our du'as. Ibadallah, inna Allah ya'muru bil 'adli wa ihsani wa ita'i dhil qurba wa yanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkari wal baghi ya'idukum la'allakum tadhakkarun. Wa aqimus salat.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين وإذ بوأنا لإبراهيم مكان البيت ألا تشرك بي شيئا وطهر بيتي للطائفين والقائمين والركع السجود وأذن في الناس بالحج يأتوك رجالا وعلى كل ضامر يأتين من كل فج عميق ليشهدوا منافع لهم ويذكروا اسم الله في أيام معلومات على ما رزقهم من بهيمة الأنعام فكلوا منها وأطعموا البائس الفقير ثم ليقضوا تفثهم وليوفوا نذورهم وليطوفوا بالبيت العتيق ذلك ومن يعظم حرمات الله فهو خير له عند ربه وأحلت لكم الأنعام إلا ما يتلى عليكم فاجتنبوا سمع الله لمن حمده.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أوحى لها يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره. سمع الله لمن حمده.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mr. Lee, thank you for Mother Amer Khan for your beautiful khutbah. Next week, inshallah, the khatib will be in tonight. His family has, so inshallah, we'll see you there. Brother Ahmed Al-Aqil will be giving the lecture. Saturday, September 24th is a town hall meeting and fundraiser, so we encourage you all to be there. Don't forget that the new Quran Academy. Please register yourselves and your children. It's not a place to learn the Quran. To stay in touch with the masjid, there's a link outside, register your email, your phone number. Also, September 3rd, at 11 to 1, the adults and the senior Islamic Trust and Wills topic will be here. Our talk will be here by Todd Bellinger and Harun Mantalaj. And we have a survey to help improve the message. So if you guys could fill that out, that would be really appreciated. Don't forget to buy the lunch outside, help the message, and help the new message as well. And dua for the sick, Sister Farzana needs dua, and inshallah for the Muslims all around the world.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين وأعلي بفضلك وعلى حق الدين. اللهم انصر الإسلام في كل مكان فوق كل أرض وتحت كل سماء. اللهم أعز الإسلام وأهله، اللهم وأذل الشرك وأهله. اللهم انصر نصر دينك واجعلنا منهم، واغفر من خذل دينك ولا تجعلنا منهم. اللهم رب الناس اذهب البأس عن المرضى واشفهم وانت الشافي لا شفاء الا شفاء، شفاء لا يغادر سقما. اللهم اشفهم وارحمهم برحمتك يا اكرم الاكرمين. اللهم ارحم موتانا، اللهم ارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين. اللهم اسكنهم من فسيح جنانك، اللهم واجعل رحمتك تسبق غضبك لهم يا اكرم الاكرمين. يا الله يسر امرنا ويسرنا، واجعلنا من كل عسر يسرا، واجعلنا من كل هم فرجا، واجعلنا من كل ضيق مخرجا. اللهم ارزقنا من حيث لا نحتسب، ربنا عليك توكلنا واليك انبنا واليك المصير. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنه وفي الاخره حسنه وقنا عذاب النار. صلى الله عليه وسلم محمد وعلى اله وصحبه اجمعين.
Also, brothers and sisters, there's boxes of rice and sugar outside of the need. If you guys know anyone or yourself need something, please let us know. And do not give money to the people outside who are asking for the money. Donate it to the mission. If they need it, then we'll help them, inshallah.